Hi, everybody. Roger Emerson here. I have the pleasure of doing a little breakout session on the ukulele. That's right, not ukulele, ukulele. So, um, a little history, as I guess the Portuguese brought the ukulele or something similar to it to the Hawaiians in the Hawaiian Islands, and they sort of took it from there and made it just ubiquitous. And particularly these days, it's it's something great to think about as choral directors as we move forward in the fall that we might be deviating a bit from our usual course of study. And I can think of nothing better than ukulele. And here's why. I'm going to put this down for a minute. I grew up a guitarist. Started taking guitar lessons at 10. But I love to sing. I hope my whole family sang. My mom used to arrange for live radio in the 40s and 30s. And so music was just a part of our family. But for me, having a harmonic instrument that I could play and sing over the top of or to, it really fostered my career. And I'm really convinced that in our choral programs and outside our choral programs, we have students who will really flourish as musicians, as songwriters, composers, arrangers, if given an instrument that they can chord on in particular. And so that's why the ukulele is I think, a great, could be a great asset. They are inexpensive. This particular one that I have here, the Flight, is distributed by Hal Leonard, and they were nice enough to send me one. It's an all plastic body. It's virtually indestructible, and yet it's got a pretty good sound. And it would be perfect for school use because it's very true. It stays in tune well. It has the mechanical tuning mechanisms, and they come in different colors, and they run about $49 retail from your favorite music retailer. So, but what I want to tell you is that maybe doing ukulele really excites you. I hope it does. Maybe some of you it scares you. And I want to share a quick story before we go into some of the mechanics of the ukulele. When I was first starting my teaching career, Kirby Shaw was my mentor. Yeah, community college. He's responsible for this. So, but I could distinctly remember, because I was an applied vocal major, is Kirby, I'll never be able to teach clarinet. And he said to me, yes, you will. You'll get a book, you'll get an instrument, and you'll stay a week ahead of the kids. And so if that be the case, if it scares you, take the advice from Kirby Shaw. Get a ukulele, get a book, which we will refer to. I'll show you some neat resources here in part 3 of this, and stay a week ahead of the kids. I also am reminded of Eleanor Roosevelt's quote, which is, do something that scares you every day. So anyway, I'm going to be back in just a minute with part 2, where I'm actually going to go through the tuning of the instrument, talk about the various types of ukulele, and whatnot. So I'll be right back. So on the ukulele, the tuning is G, C, E, A. Right? My dog has fleas. I think we all learned that somewhere. I'm not sure where. So it basically forms a C6 chord just with open strings like this. One of the first chords that you learn is, each one of these is called a fret. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. Technically the little metal bars are the frets, but the space between this would be the first fret. This would be the second fret. This would be the third fret. 1, 2, 3, and so on. If you place your finger right there in the third fret and strum, you get a C chord. Now, for those of you that are guitarists, you're going to go, well, that's a G chord. Well, it is on a guitar, put on a ukulele. It's a C chord. Now this is called a soprano. It is the smallest. Sometimes it's called the standard. Then there's also an alto, a tenor, and a baritone. Interesting thing that I just learned, because this is sort of new to me too, is that the baritone is tuned like a guitar. So if you just want to play for your own enjoyment and you're a guitarist, maybe the baritone is the one to play. But if you're going to teach, you're going to definitely want to go with the soprano or the standard. Price point as well, being a little lower. Again, this is the flight one. There's several good ones. This one is an all plastic body, but it still sounds really good. And again, it's pretty indestructible, comes with a carrying case and all those kinds of things. So I'm going to do this little tune for you. Now I'm using my thumb in downward strums. You could use the back of the nails, 1 and 2. Ultimately, you'll probably use a combination thereof. The flesh of the thumb is just a little bit mellower. But are you strumming? Are you strumming? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I play ukulele. I play ukulele. Watch me jam. Watch me jam. All one chord. Not a bad place to start. Nice steady beat. Lots of things you can teach through the ukulele. You can teach obviously harmony and rhythm. And you can also teach single notes, which is, even if you just learn a scale of basic quarter notes and eighth notes, it's just a great way to introduce music fundamentals in sort of a painless way. I remember when I was teaching guitar, talked about one chord songs, I would teach a E minor 7 on a guitar, which is just on the 5th string, 2nd fret, one finger, just like we were playing there. And I would do Pink's, I'm coming up, so we got to get the party started. I'm coming, the whole song, one chord. Yeah, it was really terrific. So anyway, I hope that you're a little less intimidated. I'm sure many of you out there probably play ukulele much better than I do. In just a moment, for the third segment here in this breakout session, I'm going to show you some of the resources, some of the books that Hal Leonard publishes. They are so user friendly. Yeah, I want to teach again. It's just in my bones, in my blood, I guess. And also at the end of this breakout session, there will probably be a landing page where you can see and hear some of the audio that is included in these resources. So I'll be back in just a moment with resources. So I told you that we would work on and show you some of the resources. I really like this book. This is Ukulele for Kids. It's a Hal Leonard publication. It's really written for kids, and I think this would work really well, certainly up through about the 5th grade, maybe even in middle school. What's nice about it is that, of course, like most books, it starts and it gives you an overview of the history, a little bit of the history of the ukulele, shows you the different types. We talked about soprano, concert, tenor, and baritone. I call it an alto, but it's really a concert. And it shows you the parts of the ukulele, how to hold it, your hand position. It's got a lot of photos in it. And then it starts with that song that I sang, Are You Strumming, in the last little segment. And again, it was a one chord song. I'm reminded of my early years of teaching guitar when I would teach everyone in the first night of class how to do the E minor 7 chord, which sounds hard, but it's one finger. And they would strum it, and I would do Pink's, I'm coming up, so we gotta get this party started. Yeah, the whole song, one chord. So that's sort of a great way to get people feeling like, hey, I think I can do this. One of the nice things about Hal Leonard and all of their publications is that they have access to all the pop songs. And so this particular method is no different. When we get over to as early as page 10, and we've learned, well, even before that, in page 8, when we've learned our second chord, okay, so we've learned the C chord, which I think I showed you was right here, 3rd fret. Each one of these is called a fret. We have 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. That little metal bar is basically the fret, but the space between is considered the 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. One finger there, right? And that was our C chord. And then here and here, 2nd fret and 1st fret, we have basically our F chord. So we have the 1 chord and the 4 chord, right? Just like that. I would also recommend, notice where my thumb placement is. It's right here. I'm going to show you. I would be cautious of kids palming the neck. You want to make sure that your fingers are really sort of out in front and that your thumb is behind so that you have a lot of room to move. Not as important on a small instrument like this, but when you get into, say, a guitar or a bigger instrument, then you want to have as many fingers out in front and not palmed as possible. So, in this case, talking about copyrights and Hal Leonard, Yellow Submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. We all live in a submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. So again, they're starting with just a chorus of Yellow Submarine using 2 chords. But isn't that fun? And I think kids would really enjoy that. Again, I'm so supportive of learning a harmonic instrument. And particularly those of us that are choir directors and maybe we can't get together as our whole choir, we could do little Zoom lessons right here. Hopefully get as many kids outfitted with a ukulele as possible and whatnot. So moving on, the couple of other books that Hal Leonard does that I want to acquaint you with. Again, that's Ukulele for Kids. There is an audio code inside, right up there. When you go to My Library at halleonard.com, it allows you to put that code in, and then you have access to all the audio. So you have the demonstration tracks and the accompaniment tracks, and so it's really terrific. You can share those with your kids. They're really neat. So moving ahead, the other really wonderful resource. And again, the landing page at the end of this segment will have all of these where you can click on and explore them and explore their innards and things like that. This is Essential Elements for Ukulele. If you're familiar with Essential Elements, it's sort of our overall umbrella for band method and now the EEMC, which is Essential Elements Music Class. So if you're using that, this would be a very logical sort of extension. In this particular case, starts off very similar to the Ukulele for Kids, and it just moves ahead and maybe goes into a little more detail and quite a bit further is with teaching more and more chords and more songs. And so this is the Essential Elements for Ukulele. And I think this might be better for the little bit older kids, middle school on up. And then the third book is this Ukulele Method Book 1 by Lil Rev, who is a concertizing artist there in the Milwaukee area, the home of Hal Leonard. And this is really neat too. Again, he's got a lot of history on the ukulele. This particular book starts with notation and then goes to chords. So again, I think of it for maybe a little bit older student. Of course, you could always start with the chords and then come back and do the individual notes. And again, audio access for this is available with a code for all the demonstration tracks that go with that. So to sort of close, do something that scares you every day. If you haven't done ukulele, it's time to dive in, and I know that at least the fall will be probably a little different than what we choral music educators are used to. but we can still build relationships. We can still teach music fundamentals. We can still encouraging singing, which is a wonderful thing to do because, after choir, if they don't participate in an adult choir, community choir, they can still sing around the campfire at home, family, entertain themselves using the ukulele. So I hope this has been helpful and maybe entertaining too. And I just wish you all the best moving forward. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.